stuck between a libertarian and a Republican. Welcome to Publitarian Podcast.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. This is Ronald Johnson, Publitarian, coming at you again with another episode of Publitarian Podcast, and we are up to episode number 56, and this should be my part 2 of Resisting the Admin, but I have not reached out to the guest yet that I wanted to have this weekend because of real-life things going on, so I'm going to do a little news of the day catch-up instead, and believe it or not, I'm just going to hit you right in the pants with it. I actually agree with AOC on something. Wait, hear me out. Don't tune out just yet. From the New York Post, AOC fighting to block massive Walmart of liquor from her Queens district. Okay, so the way the conservatives are spinning this is AOC is costing her district, yet again, more jobs. And that is 100% factually correct. That is what's happening. So this is twice that the idiot from Queens is costing her own constituents and her community jobs. But I gotta agree with her on this. I especially as a local businessman myself, I think business should be local. I think it should be as local as possible. So her heart's in the right place. That's what she's trying to do. She's trying to not drive the mom and pop liquor stores out of business that can't compete with the corporate pricing. And I know as a local businessman, I have to do that all the time myself. So I'm going to give her a little bit of a pass on this and agree with her on this. I do think you should shop locally, buy locally, let your local dollars go back into the local economy. But at the same time, she is costing that same community that she's trying to prop up. She is costing them jobs. And government shouldn't be intervening in this. Government should not be the arbiter of this. Let the free market figure it out. But anyway, yes, she is costing the local area jobs. Somewhere to the tune of 100-ish jobs. So I guess you could do the numbers and look at the mom and pop stores and see how it equals out. Or you could just be a pure economics and capitalist person and say, hey, it's capitalism, and make the other people compete. So I could see both sides of the argument, but I just wanted to open up with that shocker there and say that I actually agreed with her on something. That does not mean I'm giving her a pass on being an idiot and being a Marxist. Moving on. So, like I said, this is going to be a catch-up, news of the day type thing, and the Publitarian beer fridge has just kicked on. Enjoy the hum. I am enjoying a cold Coca-Cola today, and that is it. I know, kind of boring. So, let's get into it. From Fox News, this was published 5 days ago. Ed Buck, Democrat donor, arrested, charged with running drug den after latest guest overdose. All right, so Ed Buck is a Democrat donor, lifelong Democrat, supports Hillary, all the California BS. You're not hearing about it in the mainstream media, obviously, because he's a Democrat donor. And if you are hearing about it in the mainstream media, I kid you not, the headlines are saying small-time donor, small donor, they're trying to downplay the amount of money that he's actually given to these candidates. Anyway, from the Fox News article from Los Angeles, Ed Buck, and see how Fox News spends it too, a prominent Democrat Party donor, hey, fair is fair, right? Ed Buck, a prominent Democrat Party donor, was arrested Tuesday and charged with operating a drug house after a third man reportedly suffered an overdose inside his West Hollywood home last week and survived. Buck has faced public scrutiny after 2 black men died from overdoses 18 months apart inside his home. He was not charged in those cases. Weird. Why was he not charged? Democrat privilege strikes again. Buck is due in court Wednesday to respond to 3 counts of battery and injecting the alleged third victim with methamphetamine on September 11th. We all got to cope with our September 11th grief in some way, Some of us mourn, some of us pray, some of us inject young gay black men with methamphetamine. You just have to do what you got to do to cope, right? Also, they're showing these pictures. This is an audio podcast, so I can't show you these pictures, but kind of a side-by-side comparison. You're seeing Ed Buck with Hillary Clinton. He's got his sharp little bow tie on, looks very California. And man, when you look at his mugshot or where he's getting arraigned in court, that will send you adrenochrome conspiracy theorists into a tizzy. Like, he looks like the life force has been sucked out of him. He looks like the crypt keeper from that 1990s Tales from the Crypt, if any of you ever saw that show. I'm getting buried in the morning. Horrible crypt keeper impression, but anyway. I used to love to watch that show when I was a kid. The animatronic Crypt Keeper puppet. That's what this dude looks like. You just need to put like a cloak, a hood over him, and that would be this guy. So anyway, another Democrat donor bites the dust. He may skate, who knows. Like I said, Democrat privilege. I just wanted to cover that story because not a lot of outlets are. Up next in our lineup, and this is going to break your heart, so prepare. From Insider.com. Teens are pledging not to have kids until the government takes climate change seriously.
Okay!
Anybody else seeing a problem with this? Do I even need to read the rest of the article? But I will. From Kelly McLaughlin. That's kind of funny because I'm Laughlin about this going all the way through this. Again, from Insider.com. Teens are pledging not to have kids until the government takes climate change seriously. Emma Lim, an 18-year-old student at McGill University in Montreal, recently launched a climate change movement called No Future, No Children. Oh, hashtag, by the way, in case you want to hijack it and meme it. Hashtag No Future, No Children. Her movement serves as a platform where people can pledge not to have children until the government takes serious steps to combat climate change. Teens across the world are calling for action against climate change. On March 15th, 1.4 million students in 123 countries worldwide demand more government action to limit climate change. Oh, and here we go with this chick. Swedish teenager Greta Thunberg brought her campaign for urgent action on climate change to Congress on Wednesday, saying officials aren't doing enough to halt global warming or reduce carbon emissions. So that's from Insider.com. Do I even need to dismantle the idiocy in this? Okay, one, a kid will do anything to get out of school. Let's be real. We've all been in school. Some of my listeners still are in school. If there's an opportunity for you to not to go to school, you will take it. So this Greta chick has come up with this ingenious plan to not go to school. And I think it's been like a whole year that she's been out of school. Now, I have seen some other conspiracy stuff that I have not even bothered to check out the rest of the way because the chick really just doesn't even matter that much to me. But like that her parents are in Antifa and they're actually socialists, yada, yada, yada. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. But that's her. But this chick, Emma Lim, she's starting this No Future, No Children movement. And there's 1.4 million students that think the government needs to do something. So there's 7 billion people on the planet. So you do the percentages. And that's the percentage of people that think we need more government involvement. Now, anybody that would listen to my podcast already knows logically and historically that more government involvement in anything does not mean anything being fixed. Look at anything the government has been put in charge of. So I would say if you want the problem to accelerate, and then you would have to accept the premise that there is a problem. If you want the problem to accelerate and you just want a quick death instead of a slow death, then yeah, get the government involved. Well, she's 18, so she has had a driver's license. I'm like, have any of these people ever been to the DMV or the post office or anything, any social security office, anything that the government runs? It is not the model of efficiency. It's the exact opposite. And to put these yahoos in charge of supposed climate change, what would the government do exactly to stop climate change? And that's just the assumption, again, that there is man-made climate change, and the assumption, yet again, that more carbon dioxide in the air is a bad thing and not a good thing. So anyway, so that's Miss Emma making her mark. Like I said, if you want to meme it up, hashtag no future, no children. Be my guest, have fun with it. Matter of fact, I'll take it a step further. I think that we need to give money to this chick's cause. Like, we need to donate money, we need to fund this, and we need to make sure that people like this are not having kids, ever. We need to support them 100%. Give them all your money. Give them all your support. Hashtag no future, no children. Let's make it happen. Let's make it so they don't ever keep pass their ideology onto their spawn. And are you ready, ladies? Because this next article is for you. Cue the Barry White. But I can't pay for any Barry White, so I will just have to go.
That's right, baby.
From NBC News, chick magnate? Hasbro debuts Ms. Monopoly game, where women run the show. In a new version of the board game, women make more than men. Ah, so much equality. I love it. By Alyssa Newcomb, let's dig into this article here. Let's see. While women battle the gender pay gap in the real world... Oh, man, I'm not going to be able to get through this article, am I? Any of my listeners already know this, but let me just dismantle it real quick. There's no gender pay gap. You can probably come up with some anecdotal evidence of it, like something that maybe has personally happened to you as a female. But if you look at the facts and data, there is no gender pay gap. For one, it's illegal since 1963. Two, if it did exist, companies would hire all women, so it would save them in labor. Three, men account for most of the suicides at the workplace. They take more dangerous jobs. They take more risks. They go into higher paying fields. If you dismantle all of those variables and then look at the picture, usually women make more than men. But let me go back to the article. Ms. Monopoly will pay women more than men, at least in Monopoly money. In addition to shifting the gender pay gap, the game's famous properties will be replaced by innovations created by women. And since I have women listeners, I'm not going to go with that joke that I just had there. Yes, continuing on. Instead of building houses, players will build corporate headquarters. From inventions like Wi-Fi to chocolate chip cookies, solar heating, and the modern shapewear, Ms. Monopoly celebrates everything from scientific advancements to everyday accessories, all created by women. Hasbro said in a new release on Tuesday. The classic Monopoly lets players collect $200 when they pass go. Under the rules of Ms. Monopoly, male players will still get the usual $200, but women will receive $240, reversing the real-life pay gap between men and women in the workplace. Okay, so for equality's sake, you're going to make things not equal, right, Hasbro? Let me just follow your logic here. You want equality, so you're going to put this game out, and now things are not going to be equal. Things are going to be shifted on one side. And since I am talking about Monopoly, let's just dismantle this for a minute. How many of my listeners out there have ever played a game of Monopoly and not walked away wanting to stab the other party with a steak knife? Just show of hands. Anybody? Anybody. So, you already have a contentious game to where you pound your fist on the table and throw fake money and probably a sharp iron right at somebody's eye, ready to strangle them in any moment. And so you already have that tension. Now you're going to add a second layer of tension on top of that by paying the men less. Yeah, this is great, Hasbro. Good work. Bravo. Let me know how that Ms. Monopoly works out for you. What does Dan Bongino say? Get woke, go broke. Same thing with Gillette. Gillette, they're suffering record profit losses now because of that dumb commercial that they ran. And I did see a Gillette commercial the other day that was just back to a guy shaving his face, an actual guy, not a transgender guy or a dad with emotional problems. And he's, oh, this razor burn is really a pain. Gillette. And that's it. It's too late, Gillette. Get woke, go broke. Conservatives, right-wingers, libertarians, we have a long memory. And we remember this crap. Liberals don't. They just go on to the next outrage machine. We will remember this. Anyway, so good luck to the Hasbro and Ms. Monopoly. Speaking of Dan Bongino, since I brought him up, I try as hard as I can not to do what other podcasters do or talk about things that other podcasters talk about. But I thought this was so worth your while that I thought I would bring it up on my podcast as well. Bongino did a great piece about Elizabeth Warren because she's on the campaign trail. So I thought this was important for us to have this ammunition. She's disingenuously saying that a lot of the country has suffered because of medical bankruptcy. She put out this number that 50% of our healthcare problems is due to medical bankruptcy, and I just wanted to debunk that really quick. And it's sad that I'm having to debunk this because the article I'm reading is a 2018 article, and it's something that Elizabeth Warren just said at one of the climate change town halls. And this is addressing her 2005 and 2009 statements about it as well. This is from a Forbes piece from Aparna Mathur, and it's from April 9th, 2018. The title is Exposing the Myth of Widespread Medical Bankruptcies. In 2005 and 2009, Elizabeth Warren and her co-authors released two papers claiming that more than 50% of all bankruptcy filings in the U.S. were caused by medical debts. Sounds pretty high, doesn't it? Anyway, I wrote about the problems with these studies when they first came out and even testified in Congress against reading too much into the findings of these studies because they suffered from several biases. Now, an academic study published in the New England Journal of Medicine is skeptical of these results as well. The study tracks a stratified sample of adults between the ages of 25 and 64 who were admitted to the hospital for non-birth related reasons between 2003 and 2007. It finds that fewer than 4% of hospitalizations resulted in bankruptcies. This study suggests that medical factors played a far smaller role in causing bankruptcies than the 2009 Warren study's claim of 62%. Anyway, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to go through the whole article, but what happened with another sample that they did with this study is that they threw in gambling and alcohol as part of a medical bankruptcy. So if you take away gambling and alcohol, that would really, really reduce that number. So when you hear medical bankruptcy, you're thinking of little Billy in the hospital dying of some kind of stage 4 something, and his parents don't have the money to cause the operation. Yeah, that's 4%. That number is 4%. Yeah, it still sucks, but it's 4%. So, take away the gambling and alcohol addiction that is put into that number, and again, you're down to about 4%. So be ready for that when you hear Elizabeth Warren or liberals saying that more than 50% of all bankruptcy filings in the U.S. were caused by medical debts. So just have that ammunition ready. So anyway, yet another teaser. I've got that Resist the Admin Part 2 episode coming up. I just got to get the guest in to interview him, and it's gonna be a good Part 2 of that. And sorry to keep teasing it, but it is coming up. In the meantime, I think I have rambled enough about the news of the day. If you want to reach out to me, you can. I am publitarian@gmail.com or thepublitarian@gmail.com. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Minds. I'm on Gab. I'm on all the social medias. You just have to look up Publitarian, and you shall find me. If you have any questions, comments, praise, big bags of money, that's where you'll find me, at one of those addresses. Of course, you can always DM me on Instagram. Instagram is usually where I am most prevalent, although as of late I am suffering the mysterious conservative shadow ban that happens to everybody that starts becoming effective on Instagram. So it's kind of a compliment to me. But every day I will add a follower on Instagram and lose 5 followers. And that has been a cycle for, well, pretty much all of summer now. So I have not been able to crack that 5,000 mark because every time I add one, I lose 5. And the only cure that I see of it is just staying off of social media for like a week, and then the algorithm seems to reset, and then I'm good. But I would rather just engage with the people that see my stuff and continue to soldier on. And I encourage the rest of you that have these conservative meme accounts that are active on social media, stay in that space, soldier on, continue, get your ideas out there, get your memes out there, get your humor out there, get your point of view out there. Because the problem with these other social media platforms that seem to be just for the conservatives, that's great if you want to hone your ideology to a fine point and get better at what you believe, but it's not going to be winning any liberal hearts and minds. And that's what we do. Conservative seems to always run away from the culture war rather than running to it. So if we create these platforms for ourselves to preach at ourselves on, you're not getting anybody else. You're just the libertarian is talking to the Republican about why he sucks and vice versa. And we're not getting any left-wingers into our cause. The cause being saving Western civilization from complete and total annihilation and destruction. So keep your chin up, keep making the memes, keep making the accounts, stay out there in their space and get people into our space. That's my encouragement for you for the day, for the week. Again, this is Ronald Johnson, Publitarian. Thank you for listening to Publitarian Podcast, and I'll see you on the next one.
You've been listening to Publitarian Podcast. Copyright 2019.